Welcome to Open Pike Night, the Strange New Worlds podcast where your calls are the prime directive. I'm your host, John T. Bolds, and tonight we have a returning guest to the Open Pike Night stage, beaming in wearing his finest 60s attire to help us solve the mystery of what it's like to wear a space kilt. But first, I'm joined by my stalwart co-host, the man who never did very well in theoretical podcast physics class, but somehow always seems to solve tech issues on the fly, Cameron Harrison.
Buffer Time Cam is not as good a nickname as Buff Time Cam, but I'll take what I can get.
That works. And unfortunately, Jesse went down on the wreck of the Cayuga. He had slept through the Gorn attack and, well, bad luck, I guess. But tonight, in his stead, we have once again the man who cannot break the laws of physics, but he can break our hearts as Scotty. Martin Quinn joins us on the Open Pike Night stage.
Hello,
Welcome.
how are we?
Fantastic. It's great to have you back, man.
Thank you for having me. Sorry, I'm so embarrassed about my lighting in comparison to these guys. Actually, as you were talking there, I was like, I should stop the whole thing. I've got a light in my back room, but anyway, we just need to deal with the pastiness, you know what I mean?
You're such a diva now, Martin.
I know, I've kicked off, man.
Well, I'm going to jump us right into some spoiler territory because we're seeing a little bit of facial hair on you. And last time you were here, you kind of talked about you were trying to talk the producers into maybe introducing Scotty's mustache. Is this a sign? Is this a hint?
No, I'm afraid this is for another telly show. So,
oh, dang. Yeah, I think it was a Mirror Universe episode or something.
No, wouldn't that be cool? No. They've, this director that I'm working with at the moment wanted me to look as uncool as possible. So he's given me this till later this month. But I've been looking like this since like March or something. It is so deeply embarrassing. But anyway, no. I'm afraid it's unrelated facial hair.
Unrelated.
Sorry.
Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
Yeah.
Well, let's time travel then from the possible future to the past because I was listening back to our conversation last time, and I feel like we slid past a little nugget that you had dropped. You mentioned something about Alan Rickman helping pay for drama school and giving you advice. Can we circle back to that?
Oh, of course, yeah. Funnily enough, this is a mug from my drama school. So there you go. It's very relevant.
Excellent.
Yeah. But yeah.
Yeah. How'd you meet Alan?
How did I meet him? I did a play when I first left school. I didn't get into drama school straight away, so I took like a year out and just worked at this youth theatre, Scottish youth theatre, and we put on various shows for like young people throughout Scotland. So we toured like a kids show, and then we did a Christmas show, and we did an Easter show. But they also got me auditions for professional plays occasionally, and I managed to land one of them, and it was called Let the Right One In, which is like a Swedish book and a novel. Mm-hmm. What, a book and a novel? What I meant, like a book and a film, and then National Theatre of Scotland were putting it on as a stage play. So I did it at the end of that first year out in Scotland, and then we transferred down to the Royal Court in London, and Alan Rickman was at press night, and the casting director introduced me to him, and he he basically said, I was thinking about going to drama school at that point, and he and the casting director both said, yeah, you should go to drama school, which isn't exactly like praise after watching you on stage. But yeah, he then felt that, you know, if I didn't go then, when would I go, kind of thing. And so the show then went on to the West End in London. So I was in London anyway, and I auditioned for a bunch of drama schools, got into Guildhall. And when I, told my dad about going to Guildhall, he was like, that's all very well, Martin, I don't know how you're going to afford it, because in Scotland you get free tuition, but in London you don't. Now there's student loans and stuff, but London's crazy expensive. So I just began my journey of writing to a bunch of people for money, and poor Alan, top of the list. Him and another actor, a Scottish actor called Richard Wilson, who also went to RADA. The two of them both teamed up and gave me money to go to Guildhall during my first term. After that, I managed to, through writing to loads of people, I managed to secure enough grants from the Dewar Arts Award and the Cross Trust, and then the Guildhall Scholarship. I was at Guildhall, that was the drama school I went to. That really stepped up in my second year, and I don't know if that was just because they were waiting to see if, first of all, you kind of like dropped out, or if you were any good. I don't really know. But in the second year, they they stepped up a little bit more financially, so I didn't have to ask them after like the first term of first year. But yeah, it was great. And then he was occasionally I would email him. He went to RADA with Ruby Wax, the American comedian, who's big in the UK, and her daughter was in the third year when we were in first year. So he was occasionally at the school seeing some of her third year productions, and I bumped into him then. But I also got really, even though I had this like connection I'd made with him previous, I was really like anxious all the time about meeting him. Like I felt so out of my depth. He was so kind and like generous with his time and his advice, and yet I couldn't help but be starstruck. And the way I get starstruck is I just go quiet or try and avoid situations. So like one of the times we were to meet up, I got the dates wrong, and I was like, he was at the school and I was in student halls, which is just round the corner, but I didn't realise it was that day. And I said, "Oh, Alan, I'm so sorry. I got the days mixed up. I won't be able to come and see you." Now, I could have just went. I panicked. Like, I don't know. I felt so stupid by comparison to him. I'd send him emails saying what I had got from the training so far, and he was great, but he was saying, he'd kind of give his opinion on it, and I was always like, oh, he knows so much more than me. What am I talking about? So, and then sadly he passed away during my time at drama school. So I never, got to know him professionally or anything like that. But in the brief time that I had with him, he was just so kind and thoughtful, and he reached out to me to check how I was getting on with funding drama school, because I'd already mentioned money to him. So that way he kind of just he checked in to see I didn't still need money or whatever. Just really thoughtful like that, and I don't know how he had the time to do that, the headspace, but what a great person, and I'm just so chuffed to have had a little brief time of knowing him briefly.
Yeah, so he helped let the right one in to Guildhall.
Well, yeah, he helped the jump from, yes. Oh, sorry, you're much smarter than me. That's
No, I'm so sorry.
No. I'm so slow.
It's been a good night. I'll see myself out now.
Listen, you're going to need any jokes you make, you need to really explain it to me, because I'm very slow. I'm sorry. But yeah.
Well, that's a fantastic story, and we have a question from one of our callers about some connections you've made more recently. Here is Michi.
Hi guys, it's Michi, and hi Martin. It was great meeting you at FedCon. I hope you had a wonderful time there. During the group panel, I noticed that you and Paul Wesley were having a lot of fun teasing each other and bantering. Is there a backstory to that, or was it just how you two are when you are together? Was it difficult for you joining the set after 2 seasons? And how were you welcomed into the show? And aside from Star Trek, of all the jobs you had or the roles you've played, which piece of work are you the most proud of? And what would you recommend that we should absolutely watch? That's all for me, and thanks Martin for taking the time to join Open Pike. Have a great day, everybody. Bye.
Oh, wow, that's right. I'm going to struggle to remember all of that. So, although, did you say in the private chat that should be written down, is it?
Yep. Yeah.
Right, okay. Paul Wesley banter. Yes. Yeah. Great questions, though. Thank you so much. He's hilarious. I love Paul. He can never understand a word I say. And then he does understand what I say, but he just keeps saying it now just to wind me up. So, yes, I suppose it's me being very petty and looking for any other opportunity, because everyone understands what he says, don't they? So I can't get him on the accent front. I've got to get him on some other way. No, he's brilliant. He's very, very funny, and very fun on set as well. I loved having scenes with him. But again, I get so panicky getting into this territory because I don't want to give anything away. But yeah, that seems to be our back and forth. We've never done it in front of an audience though before, so that was new.
I feel like one of the writers had led on that they were going to play around with one of the characters not understanding Scotty.
Oh yeah,
I think that might have been hinted at in previous
conversations. I'm trying to think if they did it. There might be something like that. Yes, but I can't. Right. I can't say too much.
We'll leave it there then.
I wanted more in, actually. I wasn't taking great offense to it. I wanted more in when it would be. I don't know, someone coming on. I don't know though if they ever did it, but it would just be so funny if like they come into a scene and I speak and they just move on to someone else. I think that's what I really wanted to happen. But yeah. I'm not sure we ever quite got that scene in there. But anyway.
Well, let me ask. In our last conversation, you had talked about how in the first episode, when you first appeared, you kind of held your accent back. You kind of pulled back on it a little bit, and that in season 3, you kind of let it go a little bit more, and you weren't sure how it was going to be received. And I don't know, to my ear, I don't know if I could tell a difference. But did you get any feedback? And has Scotty's accent continued to evolve?
Yeah, I mean, I think I got broader. I think I maybe said this because whenever I get nervous, I tend to go a bit broader with my accent, and I talk quicker, which is normal for anyone. And, for all Scotty's such a great talent, there is a certain element of nervous new guy energy in there a little bit with him. He's kind of a mixed bag like that, isn't he? Because at some points he seems quite cocky, and then at other points he's like, oh my goodness, I'm out of my depth. And I was worried that people wouldn't understand me in season 3 because of that. Everyone at the German convention I was at there, FedCon, was like, no, we understand you. But some of the comments online, like there's a scene with me and Pelia that was released early as a bit of promo, and I think one of the comments said "Battle of the Accents," which I really like. I really like it, and everyone keeps commenting saying, "Yeah, every time these two are on screen, I got to put the subtitles on. I have no idea what they're saying."
Yeah,
but I suppose that is like real authenticity. Maybe I said this in the at FedCon as well. Maybe this is how we explain the difference between my accent and James Doohan's accent. Perhaps he has been worn down by these Americans not understanding him, that he's had to speak in such a way and only that way will they understand them. That does it for me anyway. I hope it does it for everyone else.
It's a good headcanon, actually.
Yeah. Another great question, that they had at FedCon was about the age differences. Just because, myself, Martin Quinn being younger than Paul Wesley, yet James Doohan being older than William Shatner. And I says, no. I think what's happened here is that the pressure of the job has meant that Scotty has drank a lot between SNW and TOS, and he just looks a lot older than he actually is, which I quite like that through line for me.
Yeah.
But that person, had a couple of questions, didn't they? So what was the next bit? Was it about me being welcomed onto the set?
Yeah, how were you welcomed to the set? How was it to join the cast after a couple seasons?
Yeah, it was great. I mean, terrifying because not because of anything they did, but just because I had just watched all of season 1. And then I was given some kind of early screeners, I think, for season 2 because I was joining at the end of season 2. And, then like the first scene was with Anson and Melanie, and I was just like, it was like watching TV and then having to be like, wake up, you're in the scene. So that was, amazing. It was great to see. The thing is, a lot of them led by example rather than like kind of patronizing me with advice, particularly. Like Anson, seeing him just kind of, at one point he fluffed a line, right? And then he just went, hold on, let me do this again. Give me one more time or whatever. And it was just so cool seeing someone like take ownership on set like that. And it just made me go, right, okay, this is okay to make a mistake and you can get what you want out of the scene. So he really led by example. And then Ethan gave me really good advice just about like, I was always worried about over preparation because you can, as an actor, you can kind of over prepare for film and then be locked into something, and it's always different on the day, whether or not they're changing the script on the day, which that show wasn't too bad for it, but like, it's just always different. Like it never looks, you're never sat where you think you'll be sat. You'll never, you can't really predict how they're going to set up the shot, and so like, you've got to be ready to be malleable. And Ethan gave me really good kind of advice on that, and like prepare like 60%, like 40% has got to be on the day and being present, and he's particularly present. So are all the cast. I just think that they're very good at that. Just turning up and being malleable I suppose by the time I joined, they knew the parts so well, didn't they? But yeah. So they were welcoming just as people and very kind and everything. But also just by like leading by example with the way that they worked, and their work ethic was just awesome. What non-Scotty performance are you most proud of? What am I most proud of that you could watch? See, this is a thing I tended to do before Star Trek. I was mainly in Scottish theatre, so I'm afraid you have missed that. Like I did a play, Let the Right One In, I was chatting about earlier. That was like my first play, and I remember I was so kind of immersed in it. I don't know, there was something so kind of vivid about my imagination at that point, which I loved. But like, what could you watch? Our Ladies. I've got a part in a film called Our Ladies. I'd say I'm quite proud of what I did in that. It's a Michael Keaton Jones film. And then I popped up in Derry Girls, and that's hilarious because if you ever hear me saying anything about people doing Scottish accents, you can watch that and you can see how bad my Canadian accent is, and then you can just tell me to shut up. But yeah, I'm trying to think filmed stuff I did. There's a sketch show in Scotland called Queen of the New Year. I don't even know if you'll be able to access it. But I did a number of sketches for them. It was like a New Year's Eve, or as we call it, Hogmanay sketch show. It's like a famous slot, having the Hogmanay slot in Scotland. And yeah, some of the sketches in that, we did a sketch about 0% beer that I was very, very proud of. I don't know why, I loved it. I love my scene partner and everything. There's a bunch of sketches in that. We did a sketch about the gender reveal parties for babies and stuff like that. There was tons of sketches in that I was really, really proud of. But these are like little moments that I really enjoyed. And then stuff that I'm not proud of. When I was 14, I am proud of the credit. I was in Limmy's show. Limmy is like this amazing Scottish comedian that I've always like adored. And when I was 14, I managed to get a part in his TV show. My youth theatre had a casting directory, and I was able to get a part on this Idols TV show. It was so cool, but I am not very good at it. I was like moving all the time just out of nerves, and my mate's big brother said to me, "Why were you moving all the time, Martin?" And now I can't watch it and unsee that. But that you'll find that somewhere, Limmy's show. But that is bad. That's what I'm not. I'm not proud of my performance, but I'm proud of that credit.
Yep, that's fair.
Yeah. Sorry,
No,
I'm trying to think what else. But probably. And then sorry. What non-Scotty performance am I most proud of? I've got one. I do a bunch of music videos because my big brother is a musician. A lot of his music pals ask me to do music videos for them, or I do a music video for him. But we did a music video for Maruli, they're called, and it was called Shane. And I'm really proud of that music video. I think the director and the DOP and me, and we got another actor, Ryan Hunter, to play a dead body in it. And that was so fun. And another music video that I did for the vegan leather called She Don't. That I'm really proud of. I had to dance for like 3 minutes down a hill, one take, and that was really hard going. So yeah, there's two things I can point straight to that I'm quite proud of. Yeah,
definitely have to do some internet sleuthing and find some of these. I'm sure they're out there.
Yeah, they're on YouTube.
Cool,
those two, they're a bit easier to find than these. That's like niche Scottish sketch show. Do you know what I mean?
Well, speaking of that, should we jump to Jesse's?
Yeah, let's do it
right quick.
Yeah. Like we said, our co-host Jesse could not be here today.
Oh yeah, of
he
course.
Did send us a little video call for you. So here you go.
Great.
Hey Martin, Jesse from Open Pike Night here. Sorry that I couldn't be at the interview today, but I know that my esteemed co-hosts and of course our wonderful callers are going to take great care of you and ask a lot of really fun and interesting Star Trek questions. So since they've got that covered, I have to ask about the comedy that you post on your Instagram profile. I love this stuff. I love the sketches. I love the bits. Is that something you've ever thought about trying to turn into like a larger series or pitching as a show somewhere? Or is that something that you think you'll probably keep where it is because there you can maintain complete creative control? Asking because I would absolutely watch the Martin Quinn sketch comedy hour. I'll take my answer off the air. Thanks again, Martin.
That is very, very kind of him. Please pass on my thanks to him. No, so during COVID, I started making those little skits on my phone. I'd written little scripts after I graduated from drama school in 2017, and I always wanted one of my like filmmaking friends to be free enough to film some of these properly with proper cameras, and they never are. And it's hard to get to the top of someone's priority list because everyone's got their own projects that they want to make. And then COVID hit, and I just thought, okay, I'll just do it on my phone through trial and error, kind of. Started posting stuff. Now it never got a wide reach, but because of the little bit of work that I'd done, I was getting enough validation from people whose opinions I valued, and I thought, all right, okay, maybe I'm not crazy. Maybe my sense of humor is worth something. And that was in 2020. I was doing it on my phone, and an opening came up in my local council. That would be just like your local government or something, right? They have like an arts fund that wasn't getting used because of COVID. So they were allowing people to apply for an artist development grant. And you could get £3,000, £3,000 for it. So I applied to make a proper pilot, I was calling it. And it was like hiring my director friend to film and direct me in this recreating some of these sketches that I'd made on my phone and some other scripts that I had, and we called it Martin's Mess. And because it was still kind of COVID times, particularly Scotland was a bit behind London, so we were still in England in general, we were still a bit more locked down at points. I said, in my application, I'm forming a bubble with this director and it will all be safe and blah blah. So it was just me and him for most of like 8 out of the 10 days, and then we had kind of safe ways of shooting other people if we had them. So I got the money. I filmed it over like 10 days, and paid everyone like film student rates, so basically minimum wage.
Pizza.
Yeah, and covered their travel or whatever. And I was really, really proud of it. It's like 30 minutes long. I would say the first half of it is really good. I'd say the second half kind of falls off a little bit. And yeah, I've started drip feeding some of it into my Instagram page as well. Anyway, though, before I did that, though, what happened? I got a part in a play just coming out of COVID. It was called Orphans the Musical, and there was a famous Scottish comedian called Rab Florence who had his own sketch show, and he was in the musical. So I showed him Martin's Mess, and he really liked it, and he showed it to the BBC Scotland commissioner, and he got me into this Hogmanay sketch show, Queen of the New Year. And I wrote a sketch for them, and I appeared on the show, and I also met my writing partner, Stephen Buchanan, there. And from that, we were commissioned by BBC Scotland to write a short film for them called Cable Tide, which I think is going to be on BBC iPlayer for like only another like 2 weeks or something, like 10 days left. But yeah, so we made a short film for the BBC through all of these sketches. But when we pitched just doing a sketch show at that time, they seemed to think that the sketch shows weren't what they were looking for, and that I could pitch some ideas for like a storyline kind of sitcom. And we've pitched a couple of ideas under the guidance of this other great Scottish comedian, Greg Hemphill. He's been helping me. We have one idea that I think we are going to. There was a wee bit of interest in, but it's so funny. You have to like throw so many kind of ideas at people. And the idea that we've got, I'm really excited about it. Me and Steve, I've been busy filming, so we need to pull ourselves together to properly pitch it to them. But there was a bit of interest in that. But yeah, it seemed like the sketch show they weren't as interested in, which was really really disappointing. There is a benefit to doing it just on your own because you've not got people changing it. Like when we put that short film on the BBC, we were proud of it, but like that ended up being an amalgamation of all the notes of the producer and the commissioner, and you know what I mean? It stopped being directly our thing, and whereas on Instagram you're always collaborating, and I'm collaborating with Steve and Connor Riley, the guy who films it. But like for the most part, we're happy with what we put out, I would love if us three could get a sketch show, but it seems like in Scotland they're not looking for that. I mean, maybe one day if there's a real hunger for it online, they would grant us one. I mean, that would be the dream. That would be amazing. It would be so fun to just create. It honestly feels, this is me getting big headed here, but when I'm creating stuff with those guys, it makes you feel like you're in the Beatles. Like you're just like, this must be what it's like to collaborate, and the satisfying nature of like bouncing off of each other, creating something that you're really, really proud of. Yeah, it's that state that we get into when we're making stuff is something that I kind of want to recreate for the rest of my life if I can do. Yeah,
That's very cool.
That's a good goal.
Yeah.
we'll see though if anyone will give us a job out of it, but we'll see. Anyway,
So you first appeared in one episode of Strange New Worlds right at the end of season 2, and presumably knowing you were going to become a cast regular with being Scotty and all, but that you had a long time to prepare because of the strikes and everything.
yeah.
How did the reality end up matching with your expectations once you got into season 3, and how has it evolved over the last couple of seasons?
Well, it's the genre shifting meant that it was hard to prepare for, if you know what I mean. Like every time you think you've come to grips with it, like we do a completely different episode. Sorry, I'm watching what I say because I don't want to like slip out any kind of genres that we touched on. And that was hard. That was hard to balance, like, you know, keeping your character and your own the character's integrity whilst you know, honouring this genre shift. Yeah, that was something that I wasn't prepared for. I knew that they did a singing you know, episode, and I knew that there would be some curveballs, but you know, you can't prepare for what they're going to throw at you. I mean, the writers are so imaginative; they always think of something that you haven't thought of. So that was really hard. Wait, sorry, was that what your question was? What was the question? Sorry.
Yeah, just, you know, what were your expectations going in and how did it shift? But yeah, I mean, it's that is a great point with the genres. Like it keeps you on your toes, huh?
Yeah, absolutely, and I mean because yeah, and also showing different sides of Scotty, and I think you'll see different sides of Scotty throughout season 4 and season 5, and different sides I was learning about. Do you know what I mean? I was like, oh, right, okay, right, let's roll with this. Let's keep exploring this. This is great. Whereas I think I expected to fully know him. Especially, I was quite proud of how season the finale of season 2 had gone. You know what I mean? And I was like, oh, great, this is going to be someone that will be fun to play. But I realised, like, he wasn't always the same. You know, he dives between the kind of cheeky chappy. He dives between being really grumpy when he's pushed. You know, we've seen him kind of shouting at Kirk, and then, you know, the nervous new guy energy is in there as well. You know, so I mean, we're all like that, aren't we? We're all very different when there are different levels of status in there. And what I really enjoyed playing with in season 3 was this idea that before we know who Kirk really is or who he becomes, how are we around them? And I really liked the idea that I was quite disrespectful to him at first because he's such a loose cannon.
Such a good dynamic. It was so fun to watch.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Well, what I liked was, you know, he's a loose cannon but without the credentials. So who are you when you're a loose cannon without the credentials? You're probably a liability, you know what I mean? And that's really dangerous. And so, you know, understandably, Scotty and the crew would be really annoyed at that. And then, like, the next time I saw him was episode 8 in season 3, and kind of I wanted to keep playing it a little bit, like, embarrassed that I'd kind of really lost the rag with this guy, and I'm having to ask him for help in a time when, you know, 2 episodes previous I'd been screaming at this guy. So I quite liked playing with that through line of the whether or not that comes across, I don't know, but you know, that through line of the dynamic with the two. Again, like, I love Paul, and I love playing, like, with Scotty, playing with Kirk and stuff like that. I think it's really fun. And
I love that insight because that subplot, yours and Kirk's subplot in 4.5 Vulcans, is one of my favorite moments of season 3. And I don't know if I'd put I don't know if I'd connected the line, but you're right, it does come across. That's part of that really funny kind of buddy comedy relationship that's happening there.
Yeah. Sometimes I think maybe I could have dropped the awkwardness a little bit between us and just kind of like, like the way TOS is, where you just kind of like, you forgot what happened in the last episode, and here we are in the next episode. Do you know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
But I suppose part of Strange New Worlds is kind of threading through the kind of character development, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
And so, in that sense, it can be a bit more. There are moments of real groundedness, you know what I mean, and authenticity that I think I kind of wanted to shoehorn in there. Whether or not it was the right moment to do so or not, it's hard to tell. But
well, right now is the right moment for another one of our callers. Here is our good friend Michelle.
Hey, Open Pike Night. Welcome, Martin Quinn. I think you are doing a fantastic job bringing young Scotty to life on Strange New Worlds. I grew up on the original series and always really enjoyed Scotty and James Doohan, so you are definitely doing him justice, and the comedic elements, but also the more serious aspects of Scotty. So I'm wondering if what you did to prepare for the role, if you were a fan of the original series or knew of James Doohan's work beforehand. I am glad that we finally have a Scotsman playing Scotty. That's pretty awesome. Also, I appreciate the episode you did of Derry Girls. I'm a fan of that series, and if you have any thoughts or memories of that, I'd love to hear it. And finally, I usually on this podcast make a Crusher connection because I'm a big fan of Dr. Beverly Crusher from The Next Generation, and she was actually Scottish, the character. So little connection to Scotty there. And she met Scotty in the episode Relics in The Next Generation. So just a couple of thoughts, and just wanted to say thank you for all the hard work you're putting in. It really does show, and looking forward to hearing your thoughts and what's next for Scotty in Strange New World seasons 4 and 5. Live long and prosper.
Oh, that is so kind, isn't it? Oh my God. Thank you very, very much, because that's what I was so nervous about when joining the show was, it's such a what would you say? Such a huge franchise, and everybody's got, so much praise and love for James Doohan, as they should have. I mean, he's brilliant. And so you don't want to taint that at all. So whenever anyone says that to me, that they were happy with how I did it, it's just such a relief. So thank you very, very much. How did I prepare for this role? When I was getting cast, and I might have said this last time, they were very keen on us bringing ourselves to it. And I got diagnosed with ADHD before it was cool. I was in drama school at the time, and it was kind of. I remember being at school and some people got diagnosed with ADHD, but people were like those. Like, it was Michael McCabe who had it, and he would like run into walls. Like, if you said, Michael, go run into that wall, he would go and run into that wall. Like, he was really hyperactive. So I kind of always associated it with this kind of external hyperactive thing that McCabe had. But then when I went to drama school and I was really struggling to like keep up with the reading, I then told a teacher, and he sent me for this like ADHD test. So I didn't even know at that time. I wasn't on social media, so maybe it was big in social media then, but this was like 2014. Whereas I think more since the pandemic, maybe things have there are more kind of diagnoses like that. But anyway, and I went and got a diagnosis. Also, off of my drama school, I got a free laptop and a printer out of it. So I mean, and I didn't cheat. I had a friend who told me that he like faked dyslexia just so that he could get the free laptop. Although the thing is, he probably did have something like dyslexia or ADHD, but because he lied in the test, they never got to the root of the problem. So he kind of just set himself up to fall there. But he got his free laptop. But anyway, I was diagnosed with ADHD and in drama school, which was great in a way. It meant that I could just accept maybe I need longer to do things, or try and work with that. So in that sense, it was really good. It was also really good when auditioning for Scotty, because the casting directors were just saying, rather than try and emulate, if you've guessed, they never told us what franchise we were auditioning for, and they were just like, if you've guessed what franchise it is, don't say, but don't try and emulate anyone. They were worried that it would turn into a kind of impression. And that we would be really kind of, we would be a bit more wooden trying to do that or whatever. So, bringing yourself to it. This is your younger version, they're not who they become eventually. And the kind of ADHD version of Scotty is really interesting. And that, I could take that and I could run with that. That was great. I mean, because that's, I've got a connection to that. That's really easy. And it's in the writing at points. And it's, so I suppose, what did I prepare? I suppose it's just like, that the bringing my ADHD side to the forefront, not always easy to show in small moments, but the writing helps a lot. I think did she ask also something about what did I think of James Doohan's? Was I Star Trek?
Were you a fan of his work?
I mean, the thing is, you can't be when you're Scottish. You can't not know about Beam Me Up, Scotty. I was at a play the other night, or 2 weeks ago, called The High Life. It's Alan Cumming, and he had a TV show in the 90s. In Scotland called The High Life, and they did a stage show, a musical for it, cool. With Forbes Masson, and Johnny McKnight wrote it, and it's brilliant. It's great. It was such a fun night. But they had references to Beam Me Up, Scotty in there, and there is so many Beam Me Up, Scotty references all the time. It's, to us, I mean, it was funny because we know that he's not Scottish. We can hear it straight away. And that is usually quite a soft spot for us. We usually get really annoyed at it. But I think everyone's actually just proud of the representation in Star Trek. We're like, oh, look at us. We're there in the future and everyone's still talking about us. I don't think people are livid at it. You know what I mean? It's not like everyone goes, beam me up, Scotty, and then shakes their fist. I feel like, we're just so glad that such a huge franchise were involving us. So yeah, and James Doohan. I mean, I love the old Trek. I didn't watch much of it beforehand. I saw bits of it. My friends were really big into Next Generation, so I'd seen bits of Next Generation, but I hadn't seen a lot of TOS. And then when I got cast, I binge watched it. And I love it. I mean, I just love the style of it. I think it's so cool. I love when they go down to planets. I think that is the strength in their show, and the strength in our show is when you go and see other worlds. I love the sets that they had. I think they're so fun. And unfortunately, Scotty isn't always the one that gets to go down to the planets. And yet, those are the things that I loved most about it. I love the old show. I think it's amazing, and it's constantly an inspiration for what we can do. You know what I mean? In real life, but I also just mean performance wise. I'm like, look at those guys go. They're having the time of their lives. I just hope I can kind of honor, but also enjoy it the way that they obviously were enjoying it. Any memories of filming Derry Girls? It was great. It was only a couple of days that we were there. We were in the Europa Hotel, which was the most bombed hotel in Europe until somewhere in Sarajevo took over. And I remember the morning that the first night there, I was woke up at 3 a.m. with a fire alarm. And of course, because someone tells you the bombing thing, the bombing fact, you go, it's happened. It's happened and I'm here, which is ridiculous. But anyway, it was any memories from it. I mean, I just remember being really starstruck by the cast. They were brilliant. My grandparents are Irish, So I was constantly, that was the the kind of the card I had in my back pocket for making conversation. Like, I'm an Irish citizen, by the way. I'm trying to get my Irish passport. Trying to be one of them as best as I possibly could. But no, they were brilliant. I was just starstruck by all of them. It was kind of weird times. It was COVID times, so we were still masked up. We weren't able to talk as much as we'd like. But there was a guy called David Ireland on set, because he plays one of the girls' dads in it, and he is a playwright in Scotland, and I'd worked with him before, and I was on his TV show The Lovers, and he is, maybe that's something that people should watch. That's a good show. People were asking earlier, what am I proud of? That's a good show they should watch. I'm not in it loads, but anyway, David Ireland he's an Irish playwright, but he's from Belfast, and he's a Belfast playwright based in Scotland, and because of that, I'd worked with him and I knew him, so this made me look so cool. And amongst all of these like Northern Irish actors, I was like, yeah, my mate David. It made me, I was really kind of bragging quite a bit that I already knew David. But that's probably a rubbish story, so there you go. Sorry. I think I just wanted to give a shout out to David Ireland. He's an amazing playwright. He's amazing.
You can name drop David Ireland.
Yeah.
Well, what you were talking about with how you played Scotty, I think kind of leads into Lorca's question or one.
Yeah, here's a question from our caller, Lorca. Is this our first caller?
I believe so.
Lorca? Welcome to the Open Pike Night stage, Lorca. Thanks for joining us.
Hey there, Martin. Lorca from Ukraine here. Happy Pride Month,
Hi
first
there.
of all.
Happy Pride Month.
And my question for you, two questions actually, that if you will be ever doing full body shots as Scotty or cardboard cutouts like Pike and Chapel got, and if Scotty wasn't a character from TOS and you had nothing to base him on other than the descriptions you got, what would you take or give the character?
What would I... Oh.
I think that's a pretty interesting question. Like, if
Yeah.
he was not a legacy character, how might you have played him differently?
Okay. That's a really good question. They're all great questions, by the way. Sorry, I feel so rude. After every time there is a caller, I should be saying, like, thank you so much, by the way. And I just want you to know I am very grateful, all of you. Yeah, so if he was not a legacy character, I think I don't know if I would kept him as kind of... I don't know if I would have had him as well kept as James Doohan. Like, he's very... Like, the hair, he's kind of immaculate. Now, that might be Starfleet standards, but I would like the hair to be crazy and, like, stubble because he's not slept. I would like that,
Okay.
That would be my kind of difference. I don't think he would necessarily bite his nails, but he might have bumps and scrapes and stuff from, like, I think there would be a bit more of that than what I've... But that's also maybe my own vanity, because I prefer having a bit of stubble. So maybe it's me. Will there be... Honestly, when she said... How did Lorca word that there?
Full body shots.
Body shots. I honestly thought she was talking about, like, what, nudity? And I was like, oh, that's cool that you're asking. Like it sounded like there was a kind of hope from fans that there might be a kind of full frontal from Scotty. But no, that wasn't the question.
That's not happening with season 4. They're not doing that genre.
Nobody wants that.
There's some thirsty fans out there. I don't know.
Yes, there are. Yeah.
You are very kind and flattering to me, but I think we both know that's not the case. Will there be life-size cardboard stand-ups of my Scotty? I would love that. I didn't know that they had that of the other ones, and now I feel a bit like I'm missing out. Is there action figures? I don't even know.
I was going to say, like, how much do you get, consulted at all about merchandise? Yeah, I know. I don't think there are Stranger World action figures. We need to do something about this.
Yeah. It's an often lamented thing that Paramount and merchandising don't seem to live in the same neighborhood at all, especially when it comes to Star Trek. It's like, hey, people like space shows and they like toys that go with space shows. Maybe we have another example. And Star Trek definitely doesn't do it as much.
Well, a couple of people have come up to me and asked me to sign these. They're not like lifelike toys, they're kind of cartoony toys, like a
Yeah,
big
the
ball.
Funko Pops. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the closest I've seen. I don't think I've been, but I thought some of the other characters have had little kind of action figures, but maybe not then, maybe not. I know, but then there would be a battle over which Scotty action figure do you want? Do you want James or do you want myself or Simon Pegg? Do you know what I mean? So maybe that's why. Maybe that's why they're unsure about doing it. There's a gap in the market.
If someone gifted you a cardboard stand-up of yourself, would you ever put it up in your house?
Oh yeah, my big brother moved to Australia. That's so annoying they've put it away. My big brother used to be in the corner over here.
Oh, yeah.
So that we could bring him to weddings and stuff that he was missing out on because he moved to Australia. But the one time he's not here, I can't show you. But yes, I would put it next to him.
That's awesome.
Absolutely. That's fantastic.
Yeah.
All right. We got another caller here. Here's our good friend, Abby.
Hey, Open Pike and Martin. This is Abby from the First Flight Podcast. Martin, I absolutely love that you have jumped into the role of Scotty. You are endearing in every possible way, and this is from a pretty much lifelong Trek fan here. I was hoping you could talk a little bit about Scotty growing into his role and working with the amazing Kane as Pelia. You two just seem to be having so much fun. So, got any fun stories about times you cracked each other up so much that you couldn't keep working? Hope this finds you and yours well, and we'll all talk soon.
I just want to say, last episode, like, we hadn't seen season 3. We didn't even know if Scotty was going to be in season 3 when we started talking to you, and like we were all hypothesizing, what could it be? Is it going to be a mentor-mentee relationship? And we were so happy with what we got between you and Pelia.
Yes.
Oh, good. Yeah. I always wish there was more of it. You know, like if you don't really realize it, but actually we talk about each other more than you actually see it.
Yeah.
You know, just in season 3, if you think about it, it's like we're actually just constantly not bitching about each other, but, you know, dropping in wee comments about each other rather than actually, which is quite nice in a way because it makes your mind kind of go, oh, what's that? What's that about? What happened there? I don't want to give too much away because, yeah, we have a little bit more in season 4. Obviously, me and Pelia.
I think that's a perfect amount. I think everybody was just started cheering, listening to this. So
Yeah,
that's fantastic to hear. Yeah.
Good. Well, maybe I won't do my usual and ramble on about that. But yeah, there's some more. She's brilliant to work with. I mean, of course she is. She's just so brave with her performance all the time, and it's so inspiring. You know, it's easy to get lulled in TV into like really small, smoldering performances, and she, you know, pulls you out of that, which is so inspiring. But also, that's kind of what I feel about the old TOS guys. That's kind of what I mean about their performances being so inspirational. Like they show the real size with truth. Do you know what I mean? Like there's truth there, and it's such a brave performance from all of them, and I want to be more like that. You know, yeah. What was the first half of our? Talk about Scotty growing into his role. Yeah. It's hard. It's him kind of. Oh, I can't say too much because I'm going to end up slipping up. I'm going to slip up.
There's no
more growth to come, is what you're saying.
More growth to come. Perfect.
Yes.
There you go. That's a good answer.
Well, since Abby didn't ask the costume question, I guess it falls upon my shoulders. We see Scotty in his dress kilt twice in season 3.
Twice.
Did you get any input or did they consult you at all on that, or did Bernadette and her team just have the Scottish balla?
Well, it's because it was already in. Was it one of the Star Wars? Oh my God. I just said the wrong. You've got to cut that.
Well, it's
all
been
right.
a great
Well,
interview, folks.
everybody.
It was because I was flipping to movies. That's why I made that mistake, okay?
Yes,
in the Star Trek movies, you see the kilt, don't you? You see...
I believe, yes, yeah.
I think at least once, yeah.
Yeah, and so there was that as a template, the Scott tartan, and then this kind of futuristic... I mean, it was great, the details that they put on all these kind of futuristic bits on the belt and everything. It was so cool. Yeah, they did speak to me about it, but we went to a kilt maker's. I mean, we don't. I think I've worn a kilt maybe once, maybe twice in my life before this, because like we do it. I've worn it at a wedding. I've had maybe the opportunity. Maybe I wore it 2 times. I'm trying to think now. I always hated wearing them. I mean, like they are great when they're on, but they're a pain. Like they're really heavy. I find it really heavy. And when we were shooting, like you're taking it on and off, and actually it was freezing cold. It was like like January 2024 that we did one of them, and it was like freezing in Canada. Just going from the trailer to the studio. So in Scotland isn't where I'm from isn't as cold as that, but it's raining all the time. Like it's not warm, so like I'm never buzzing to wear a kilt. I'm glad when it's on, but I was quite chuffed to be able to give some of the little like facts that I'd heard where, in your socks and for the kilt there is like a little knife that slips into it. Called a ski and do, where apparently the custom was, right, I'm turning up to your house, I'm taking my knife out of my sleeve so you can see it, and I'm keeping it in my socks so that you can see it there. That was supposed to be the idea. Now they used to get, I heard this, but I don't know how true it is. The knife crime was so bad in Scotland that they had to start giving out like fake ones because at weddings people were stabbing each other. I don't know how true that is. But I can believe that you wouldn't want to be giving out knives to people that are going to get as drunk as a lot of Scottish people do at Scottish weddings. So they gave me, a plastic one. So no, we talked about it all. But we were kind of at the mercy of the kilt makers because they're the ones that know. And then Bernadette, who's just got this amazing futuristic design, inspired by what had been before. But yeah.
Very
Sorry,
cool.
I ramble away.
Oh no, it's great. It's great. It's fun stories. Here's another caller, our buddy Melanie.
Hi Martin, Melanie here from Germany. We met at FedCon a couple of weeks ago. We talked about Glasgow on the dance floor, and later you told me you liked my question during the Sunday panel, which absolutely made my day. I wanted to follow up on that question because A Space Adventure Hour is such a fantastic episode and one of my favorites from season 3. What I really loved about it was seeing Scotty in a situation where he doesn't actually have all the answers yet. He's still finding his footing, and for much of the episode he's basically trying to bluff his way through until he can figure things out with a lot of help from Uhura. It felt very human and made Scotty instantly relatable. So I'd love to hear more about what that experience was like from your perspective. How did you approach playing a younger Scotty who hasn't quite become the legendary engineer we know yet? What was it like building that relationship with Uhura and showing Scotty learning to trust and rely on someone else? And because I have to ask, what was it like filming with the rest of the cast, especially Anson? I can only imagine trying to keep a straight face while Captain Pike was walking around with the wig, the glasses, and that belly. Were there any moments on set that almost broke you or the others? Thanks so much, and I'm really looking forward to seeing more of your Scotty in the future and meeting you in Vegas, which will be soon. Live long and prosper, Melanie.
Oh, thank you, Melanie, for another great question. Yeah, it was great. FedCon was great. I ended up, because we were staying in the hotel there, we could go down at night, and like I don't drink anymore, so I was like, I went down to the dance floor for a little bit just to see people, but also just to chat to people normally outside of the kind of, there's a queue kind of situation. So it was so lovely. She was so lovely, as was everybody there. How did I approach? Yeah. That episode, right? So Space Adventure Hour was the first time filming with Frakes, and I mean that was so fun. He was amazing, but I was kept separate from everybody else, so they were all getting to explore new characters, and they were all getting to like play dress up and try stuff out, and they all shot in a completely different part of Toronto. For me, I was stuck in the studio, and I think we did the majority of my scenes in like one day. And it was just me and Frakes for the majority of it, which was so fun. And then different cast members coming in for various scenes in the science lab. It was honestly, it was amazing. Like working with Frakes was just so fun. Like he, I don't know, he just keeps the energy up, constantly. I mean, he's such a kind of Trek legend, isn't he? But he's just got really exciting ideas of how to shoot it. But he's so collaborative with the crew. So it really just felt for me someone who's, coming to the whole show late, it was just a great, kind of bonding exercise. It was brilliant. Oh, is my screen frozen? I'm so sorry.
Oh,
I'm
it's all right.
stuck
Just
in a
go ahead and
great
keep talking.
pose.
It's a good pose.
It's a good
That's
pose,
great. Let's keep it for the rest of the show. Brilliant.
Yep, we can hear you just fine. So.
I'm so sorry.
No worries.
There could be worse poses I could be stuck in, I suppose. But yeah, and it was, I was getting FOMO from the other guys, but at least I was getting to explore with Frakes, which was really fun. And it was a really good team building exercise for me and the crew. Because I was with them all day. Because that's one of the worst things. I hate kind of just stepping on set and then leaving. I love being there all day. And there was a scene that got thingied, that got cut with me and Gamble, and he came on and was asking me about the power outages, and I was behind an area. Okay, I could show you if I saw the set in front of me, and I was pulling plugs out and throwing them, and yeah, it was largely a monologue because I wasn't really listening to him. But anyway, it got cut. I think the episode was probably too long overall, but I was always gutted because it was so fun to play Scotty getting more and more frazzled as the episode goes on, and I think then I heard that the writers were really enjoying that. Who was it told me that they were really enjoying? Was it one of the directors? Was really enjoying, they would hear the writers talking and they would say, right, let's try and give Scotty more to be stressed about. Let's give him even more to be stressed about. Let's make sure that whatever the problem is, that's also a problem for Scotty, so that he's running about even more. And I mean, that episode is a great example of them doing that really well and openly. But you can see it in, again, I can't talk about seasons 4 and 5, but you will see more stressed Scotty. So yeah.
I'm going to try, because you're right. You did not get to be one of the holodeck characters. You didn't get turned into a Vulcan. You missed the musical episode. Yeah. Are we going to get to see an alternate Scotty at some point?
I don't know if I can say.
Okay. All right. I tried. You hear me, listeners? I'm out here. I'm trying for you.
But look, I'm the most gullible. I'd be the one to, if you're going to get anyone to spill the beans, it'll be me.
So, we've had a couple callers who mentioned meeting you at FedCon. What's it been like being on the convention circuit? Any surprises or favorite memories from that as you visited more and more?
Mate, it's so heartwarming. It's amazing to see how much the show means to people, but just how supportive they are. They are such an enthusiastic fan base, and you really want to make sure that you kind of honor that. But it's great to be able to share that with them. In so many TV shows, you're on the TV and you don't ever get to meet them. This is so cool to go and meet a community. And it's really and this is kind of what I'm meaning when I'm saying how grateful I am to all of these people calling in and giving questions. I'm genuinely so grateful to everyone who comes up and speaks to us at the conventions. And even though a lot of the time, because we've travelled, we might look really tired, or you get 2 seconds because the queue's so big. Genuinely, the words mean so much to us, and I just hope that they get something back out of that interaction, because it does so much for me, and it's so encouraging, and makes me just so glad that this was where my career ended up. I didn't know where it would end up, and I, sometimes you, as an actor, you can slip into the hole of being very aware of all of the knockbacks that you got and the careers that could have been if you'd got another job. And I'm just so glad that I got all of those knockbacks that meant and led to me being on Star Trek, because it's just such a cool community to be a part of, and to touch base with, and it feels like a lifelong thing, and that's what's really cool about it.
Traveling around there, you must have met a lot of the other Star Trek actors from all the other series.
Yeah,
probably Gates McFadden. I mean, you met Frakes. I mean, have any of them kind of talked to you about the legacy and what it's like to kind of enter that arena? Have they given you advice?
Mate, I am terrible, because at the conventions I have not enjoyed the place. I've literally turned up, appeared, and then left straight away, as opposed to basking in like the you know, all these cool people that I'm like meeting. No, I suppose Frakes is probably the main one that I've spent time with, mainly because he directed me. Did they give me much advice for it? I think I suppose it was. I tried to give someone else advice at one point, and my big thing was about like enjoy it, you know. And it's just, you know, one of the Starfleet people came up to me and asked me about it, and we were already into season 5 at that point, and so they were they in season 2? Yeah, I think so. And I was just saying to them, you know, enjoy it, because like we're already in season 5 and it's coming to a close, and you know, just enjoy whilst it's coming out. And you know, we've got the next. It's so sad for us that we are finished filming Stranger New Worlds, but I'm still going in next or the week after next to do some ADR. You know, it's still in this like exciting phase, isn't it? And I've just got to enjoy the next year, the next 2 years, and then, you know, hope and pray that we all put enough pressure on the powers that be for there to be more Trek with us. You know. Yeah.
That's fantastic. I got a couple of write-ins. One of our callers wrote, Ashina wrote, "What's a small or maybe almost invisible detail in your character's behavior that you noticed while playing him or that you added? Like, was there a subtle choice you made for Scotty?"
I did make a subtle choice, but I would be spoiling something.
Can you tell us what episode to look it out for it in?
Well, you won't notice the wee subtle things.
All right.
But it's all leading. Oh, no. I don't know. It's all
I think that's an
leading
even better
somewhere.
answer than something specific. Like that's great. Building excitement for these. We got 16 more episodes and we're going to be watching them even closer now. So,
well, yeah, I
that's
hope
fantastic.
that an idea had come into my head early on, and some of the other cast's heads, and that then did get put in. And I had been thinking that might happen, and I had tried to breadcrumb slight moments. So maybe next time we speak, we'll be able to speak more freely about those breadcrumb moments that you won't even notice. You'll be like, "What are you talking about? That wasn't anything." But yeah. Some of the breadcrumbs have already been there, but you guys won't necessarily notice that. You know?
Oh man,
You're talking to
We're gonna
Star
have to
Trek
pull.
fans.
Yep, we're gonna have to pull shot by shot and have Martin run through this after 2028 when it's all done.
Make
It's
a
so
note right
vague.
now. Follow up on the breadcrumbs.
Yep.
Yes. Great.
All right. Well, what we did notice in season 3 was the episode "The Slot Who Ate Its Own Tail." It was super fun for all of us because I think there was a moment for every viewer when we were like, "Oh, I see what they're doing. It's all the TOS people are on the ship together."
Yeah.
And as an audience member, that was like a moment. That was like watching something. Did it feel kind of different on set, or was it just another day at work?
No, it was very cool. It was a cool moment to realize that we were, though, shooting particularly the scene where, you know, when Kirk walks off the bridge. When we filmed that scene, it was weirdly so late in the day. Like, we weren't running out of time. We were just all delirious, like so exhausted. I don't know what happened, if we just had so much to shoot that day. Yeah, it probably was. Bridge days are really hard to shoot because they turn around. They've got so much coverage to do because there's so many characters on the bridge, and they've got to shoot it in a certain way so that, you know, so that when we are facing out and you're seeing, you know, what the bridge can see out in outer space, you've kind of got to save those moments. You know what I mean? You can't just have that in the background of every shot. So, like, they've got to shoot it in a certain way. So those days just take ages. And yes, we did all realize, like, oh my goodness, look at this. It's all these kind of legacy characters all in the one scene. That was a cool realization, but we were also exhausted. And also the dynamic is so different from how it ends up, you know? So it was kind of, it was weird, but it was kind of jarring because we're like, oh, we're not really playing how they played it. You know, we've not settled into the roles that they become. You know, yeah. But it was very cool. It was an awesome moment. Yeah.
Heck yeah.
Do you have a favorite set to film on? Is there a location on the Enterprise when you see it on the call sheet, you're like, yes?
Oh, that's a really good question. I like the long days, so I don't mind the bridge. Genuinely, I quite enjoy it. I mean, it is really exhausting. Right, what's it? Jeffrey's Tube, right? Now, I know that there's going to be a lot on me if the Jeffrey's Tube is there, and I really enjoy that. However, it's so uncomfortable sitting on those bars in the Jeffrey's Tube. Like, there's just not a comfortable way to sit on that. So that the novelty of the Jeffrey's Tube wore off really quickly. Yeah. Oh, I kind of want to talk about something, but can I talk about something?
We did get to go through most of the sets. Unfortunately, the bridge was the most torn apart when we did our set visit. But the Jeffrey's Tube was super fun.
We got pictures in the Jeffrey's
got our
Tube.
Pictures in there. So
yeah, it's very cool, isn't
it?
it?
Yeah,
it's a cool one. There was a potential set that didn't happen that I was very excited about that didn't happen that I want to talk about at some point, but maybe we'll come back to it. I love the planets. Whenever we go down to a planet, though, I think that is. I mean, I even just come on as just a visitor just to see the planets, because I just think whenever we're filming at the AR wall, that's the kind of, like where we do the kind of, they've got all the screens around the set so that we can like basically be on a planet. We also do that. Oh God, I can't say anything. And is anything I've said there problematic?
I don't think so.
I said that there was a potential set that hasn't happened that I was disappointed about.
Yeah, but that's pretty vague. Like, a potential set
Isn't it
is
vague?
not.
Yeah. But I would like
vague.
to, like I've said it to you guys, and I would like to come back to that at some point with you guys. But
I was just making notes of things we need to ask you about next time.
Next time, yeah. But the only thing is, I don't want to say. I kind of want to come back to that.
I have a guess because we did get to see a couple potential sets on our visit.
Did
I'm
you?
like, I wonder which one of those, if it's either one of those, but
You
I
have
don't want to
seen more
dig
than
in.
me then, probably. But like the reason I don't want to say it is I don't want to rule it out for anyone as well. Like, so we're not seeing that. Great,
exactly.
So you know what I mean.
Nope,
It kind of
that's
is a
fair.
spoiler in that sense, isn't it?
Yeah, that's fair.
But no, the AR wall I think is really exciting to film on. They've got all these kind of screens, and then that's when, oh my God, like just the artists that work on the show building sets are just unbelievable. And I get excited on that and always hope that there's a world where Scotty will appear on a planet. But those are my favourite episodes. I've said that about TOS, but also about Strange New Worlds before I joined the show. Like, whenever they go to a planet, I just think it's amazing.
Yeah.
All right, we have one more write-in. Another new writer, welcome to Open Pike Night Stage, from Galaxy Heart Demon, said, "Hi, had this random question in my brain for a while. In Season 3, Episode 2, Sam mentioned singing karaoke. What song, any song, do you think Scotty would sing for karaoke? I love Strange New Worlds, and especially Scotty, by the way."
Oh, thank you very much. That is so kind of you. That's a really good question. What would his karaoke song be? In a Big Country by Big Country.
Yes.
That's a good choice.
Yeah.
That's a great karaoke choice.
I'm going to get you to sing that song in character one of these days, Martin.
No, you can't. It's terrifying. My go-to personally was always Aztec Camera, Somewhere in My Heart, which is a Scottish band as well, actually. I don't know if you would know the song. But yeah, I think Big Country is probably the best for the man himself. Yeah.
It's a good one.
And for Season 3, what was your favorite episode to film, and what was your favorite episode to watch?
Oh, that's really good. Maybe episode 4 was my favourite to film, because of the Frakes thing.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Although in saying that, like, I really enjoyed episode 1. Like, we worked with Chris Fisher; he's brilliant.
Yeah.
But also we shot some stuff that didn't make it in the end.
Go on.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. Am I allowed to talk about that?
I think
They had-
season once it's aired, I think
I
think you
deleted
can.
scenes, sir.
Well, there
Freezing,
was-
as far as we're concerned.
It's spoken about where we are on we attach something to a missile, don't we? Like we fire something at the Gorn that has an attachment onto it. That's spoken about. And
Yep.
they had me actually on a missile putting like a crystal onto it.
Okay.
And it was getting, Pelia was wheeling this down the corridor. Now that didn't make it in, but I think it was just timing again. Also, there was a lot of like special effects attached to that because, yeah, it was
Blinking
kind of-
lights and all kinds of displays and stuff like that.
well, because it was floating down the corridor, but it wouldn't be floating. You know what I mean?
Okay.
So, sorry. So we had a kind of, it was on like a kind of not a green screen thing, but a blue tray that would obviously be taken out in post. And then I was on top of the torpedo itself, attaching something to it, and I had this cool like so that what I was touching couldn't like wouldn't burn me or whatever. So that was all really fun, and again it was with Carol, but it never made it in, and it was with Chris Fisher, who's just so fun to work with, and he just always makes it look cool. And Carol was in that as well. So yeah, I loved it. I loved filming that, but watching, I really enjoyed watching episode 6. I thought it looked so cool. I thought the look of it was brilliant. With Valerie, the director, she was brilliant. I thought it just looked really cool. I thought it was a really exciting episode.
All right, we have one more caller. Here is our friend Charlotte.
Charlotte here from rainy Nottingham. Martin, we love you as Scotty. You are a delight. We're so happy to finally have a Scottish Scotty. My grandpa was a Scotsman and I have friends who are Scottish actors, so this feels like a really big win. Do you think we will start to see more authentic voices in roles like this moving forward? And do you have any advice for Scottish actors who are trying to tell their stories and be seen? Thank you.
Oh, that's a really good question. Thank you so much. Do you think we'll get more authentic voices going forward? Yeah, I hope so. I mean, I'm worried when I start on this that I'll start slagging off other people doing Scottish accents. There was a big film recently that is brilliant, set in Scotland, and 2 of the actors aren't Scottish. And one of the actors manages to do it really well, and the other one, for us, really doesn't. And it's kind of across the board. It's distracting, like, and I really like that actor, but they just the poor accent just tears me out of every scene that they're in. And the film is still brilliant, but that was an example where they actually didn't need to make that character Scottish. Like, they actually could have just made that character the nationality. I'm trying not to give away what it is. The nationality of that person. And that would have been fine for the story. It wouldn't have mattered. And when they then do... this was a film, and I understand why they thought that they all had to be Scottish. Kind of based on a true story and all that, but it's not really necessary. It's a bit like it's not really necessary to mirror the real life events exactly to the point where someone's doing a terrible Scottish accent, because I tell you, they didn't sound like that in real life either. Do you know what I mean? So there's not really much point in doing that. A good like high profile example of it is in Baby Reindeer, where there was a woman doing a Scottish accent, and now her accent was fine. Sorry, it was good. It was good. There was only a couple of times maybe I noticed, but that doesn't really matter, because Scottish people do make noises that I'd be surprised at sometimes. So, there's that as well. But like, they didn't need to make that character Scottish. And actually, with Baby Reindeer, there was a whole thing, wasn't there, about like that, because that was based on true events. by making it Scottish actually meant that people were able to like pin down who that person was, you know, in Baby Reindeer. And like, actually, that didn't need to be Scottish. It was set in London. And I get that the writer probably wanted to kind of emulate their own life. But I think that people sometimes... So maybe it was that. Maybe the writer just, it was really important to them and their experience that that person is Scottish when they're acting opposite them. But I actually think that it wouldn't have been a bad thing to make it an English person as that actress is English. And in that sense, to come back to the question, I think that is an example, and the other example that I very vaguely gave, where the actor's authentic voice could have just come through and it wouldn't have harmed the story, I don't think, at all. And I think that they could stop putting on bad Scottish accents and just letting people just do their own accent, leaving the Scottish accents to the people who actually can do them. No, I'm not trying to be... Sorry, that's maybe
you're answering the question. Is that I think that's a fantastic answer to that question.
Yeah, but saying all of this, some people get away with it. You know, like I said earlier, James Doohan, everyone's still proud that there's a Scotsman in space. No one's complaining. Shrek, no one's complaining. Like, some people do. We are happy to have our accent on the big stage, you know. But just sometimes I'm just like, it looks a little bit like an actor giving their best go at the Scottish accent and almost showing off. Not James Doohan, by the way, but like, you know, I'm very glad that James Doohan picked Scotland, because, you know, I wouldn't be sitting here if it wasn't. So, but yeah, does that answer it? Maybe I'll regret saying that, and it's not a criticism of Baby Reindeer, which I absolutely loved. I just thought they didn't need to make them Scottish, but she did a very good job of it, so I should shut up. Who cares?
I think it's a very fair answer, man.
Yeah, it's your experience with it.
Yeah, maybe I'll regret that.
I mean, think about it. You may remember that, or you may regret it, but at the same time, you are Scotty in Scotland. So yeah, James Doohan is celebrated, but don't forget you're there too. So let's see how the next few decades play out for Martin Quinn and when he goes to the bar. Once, yeah.
You're very kind. You're very kind. I mean, there was some comment I must have made in an interview about you know, the representation of Scottish actors on screen. You know, so genuinely casting Scottish people to play the Scottish parts. And I'd made a comment about how the power of representation and all this kind of stuff. And I got a lot of comments after that saying like, "Well, he's so arrogant," and all this kind of stuff. And I was just trying to kind of show an alternate kind of opinion. It is very telling that people can't always understand me. It's like, if the reason they can't understand me is because not enough Scottish people, authentic Scottish voices, are on the screens. You know what I mean? It's very telling that some of these high-profile performances aren't very good Scottish accents. It's because they're not hearing enough of us on the telly, you know. And you can a lot of these actors can do Australian accents really well. The Scottish comedian Lemmy talks about this. You can understand Home and Away and Neighbours, these kind of TV shows, but you can't understand Scottish telly, and that's, you know, that's just, you're not shown it, you're not exposed to it enough. And it's important to cast people and let them speak in their own accents a lot of the time. I'll take all of this back if I get cast as an English person. Honestly, if I get cast as an American, just scrap everything I've just said. I think they also asked about do I have any advice for Scottish actors? It's hard, isn't it? I mean, I would say you've got to find your community and you've got to make your own stuff. And that's the advice that I would give, not just to Scottish actors, but I would give that to any actor. Find your own community who want to create things and make things and get them out there and put shows on, put plays on. It doesn't need to be London based. Like, there's an obsession with London, or some people move to the States. Like, that's just because you hear of like that being people's big break, but like, or where people's big breaks happen. But so many cool projects happen in other parts of the world, and it's not always about the glory. It's about getting work. And I think if you find your community and you make the things that you like making and get them out there, other people are going to want to see that. And that might be because you feel more understood as a Scottish actor. You might feel like Scottish people get you more. So much of my time spent in Toronto, although the Canadians were great, but sometimes I find when I've gone over to America, like I'm having to change my references. Like people don't understand what I'm talking about, and maybe then it means like to find yourself as an artist, maybe you do need to go back to Scotland and try and make stuff in Scotland before you go elsewhere. Yeah. Sorry, that's a rambly answer, but I think that ultimately it's like make stuff,
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
To be an artist, you make art.
Yeah,
First,
but
make art. Yeah,
but it's finding, a lot of people sit and wait, and especially actors were particularly lazy. Whereas, like, look at comedians. Like comedians, they're like work ethic is amazing. And my dad's always been on at me, like, remember you're a Scottish actor, so like, yeah, you might want to work in London. Or, like I worked in America, but you always want to come back and do some Scottish work because that's where you're from. And to be honest, I think that's where a lot of the real work is. Yeah, it might be more humble in terms of like pay or audience or reach, but it's still really important. I think in lots of ways it's more important because it's not about the money, it's about the community. And I think that going home can often remind you of that, it's not to say don't get any big ideas, but just like, I think just don't forget where you're from.
Yeah.
Great answer.
Balance the two.
Yeah, exactly.
And then speaking of, you remember where you're from, but speaking of going forward, we will do one more little probe into season 4 here. I think you can mention this. We know you can't reveal anything about the story, but what was it like working with puppets on the puppet episode?
Oh. No, I can't wait. I can't say anything because if I say something, you've not seen something that I would be giving away. Because, right, yeah, that you nearly tricked me there. You nearly gave away whether or not I was a puppet myself or if I was outside and a person with the puppet. So I will not fall for your trap.
But you worked with the puppeteers. You were on set while there were puppets, likely.
They are amazing. That lot are amazing. I don't know how they do it, and they had so much energy. But like I don't know how they do it. They're in really uncomfortable positions as well down there. Yeah, they are unbelievable. But I can't say too much because I'm going to ruin things. Right, I do feel bad though. I'm not putting any of these back on you guys. Like, what was your favorite episode of?
Season 3.
Yeah.
I mean, mine was definitely episode 6. That's a lot. The Age's Tale. Like,
yeah,
I think that episode is going to hold up for decades to come as just an outstanding episode of Trek.
It was good, but I was shocked to find that Wedding Bell Blues was maybe my all-time favorite Strange New Worlds. It is my comfort episode.
Wow.
Every time I watch it, I'm just like, the grin just goes up.
That's
longer
brilliant.
The episode plays.
I'm really glad to hear it. But Bill wrote that episode 6, and he writes exciting episodes. They all write exciting episodes, but the episode he wrote in season 4, I think you might enjoy.
Oh, good.
I can't wait to talk to him about it.
Yeah, we'll be talking to him soon.
Yep. Yep.
He's brilliant, man. Although he might have written 2 actually, but
wouldn't surprise me. I mean,
I mean, they all chip in, don't they? They're in the writers' room, but I think he was assigned.
I'd say after Henry and Akiva, he's probably the most.
Bill has at least 2. Yeah, he did 2.
2, yeah. So
he's great at checking up on the lore. But I think we filmed season 4 out of order for bits of it. I think.
Okay.
We usually filmed in order, but just to do with various
technical things. Yeah.
Technical things. It was moving parts. That's what I was going to say. But yeah, he's very good at checking up on the lore. I mean, they all are, but he's always on kind of if you're sat next to him on set, he's on all these kind of forums to just double check what people are saying, and
Nice.
I mean, he knows a lot of the stuff himself, but he wants to kind of double check things, and he's on all these kind of websites. So he's to me anyway quite watertight with the canon. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It sounds like all the writers are pretty like, we're all about canon, and we all really try to strive to keep canon straight, and it's a battle sometimes.
Yep.
Well, it is, and I suppose there are all these books, aren't there? And I don't know how much I don't know if the books contradict each other or not, but there's certain things in the books that I sometimes get asked about that I don't know. I don't know much about because I don't know if we're entirely wed to the books or not. Perhaps that's where some tension comes out.
Yeah.
Are we? Are you guys readers of the books?
I've
read some of the older ones.
I know they fall under like a B canon. Like they're all like they're canon until the TV shows or movies say they're not. Basically,
right? Yeah.
Oh, okay.
But I know that there have been certain books. If you're asking the Strange New Worlds books specifically, I think they are trying to keep those very in line with the show's canon. But like old TNG and old original series books, I don't think there might be a few that they say, yeah, that's true, or they take from for the shows and movies, but I don't think they dictate how things are presented later on. If a series writer comes up with something better, that's the canon. Whatever's on screen is canon.
Whatever's on screen, yeah. Okay, I did think that was kind of the case, but only because there's so many books. I was like, how can you like keep on top of this? I saw there was one penned by William Shatner at one point. Is that true?
I believe so.
I mean that's amazing. But I'm like, how are they all talking to each other? Anyway, they must have been. Yeah.
Well, finally, you still have some ADR to do. We still have 2 seasons to watch, but for the most part, Strange New Worlds has come to an end for the creatives, for the actors. Looking back, do you feel you accomplished what you hoped to accomplish with your performance for this character? And how do you think it's all going to fit into Martin Quinn's legacy?
Oh, wow. I love that you're calling it Martin Quinn's legacy. That is very flattering. I was so focused on season 5, and I was very happy with how season 5 turned out. That I kind of was so focused on that then coming back to do ADR on season 4, I was like, oh my goodness, I haven't even thought about season 4 in so long. So I'm nervous now to see season 4. I'm like, I was really chuffed with season 5, but I'm just like, it was such a stressful time. We had a condensed season, didn't we? And it was busy for Scotty in season 5, and I am now just just in the same anxiety that I get every time. I hope that whatever I did in season 4 that I'm now struggling to remember honors like what everyone thinks of Scotty and the growth, and the journey towards becoming James Doohan's Scotty. That's all that I'm anxious about, and I haven't seen it. I've seen bits in ADR, so it's I can't wait for July 23rd. I really I say I can't wait. I'm terrified at the same time. But yeah.
So Martin Quinn, Open Pike Night is an Open Mic Night themed podcast. So we do ask our guests to bring a joke. Do you have a joke for us today?
I do, but similar to my last one, you won't get it.
Perfect. That's even better.
So there is like a man walks into the baker's and he's picking between I don't even know how to set this up.
Bread humor, this is great.
A man walks into the baker's and he's picking between 2 cakes, and he says, "Is this a donut or a meringue?" And the baker says to him, "No, you're right, it's a donut." That's
because meringue sounds like "Am I wrong?"
Yes.
Okay.
Well done.
Good job, John.
Thank you.
Well done. But yes, because we would say that where I'm from. You're right or wrong. So anyway, that's just to follow on from my "Did you hear about the lonely prisoner? He was in his cell" joke. That is equally as parochial.
All right. Well, then finally, we've tried to pry some information about season 4. You've been very good, Martin. But
Yes.
Oh, good.
so we're going to ask just one word, just one single word you can throw at us. That won't mean anything now, but when we watch the episode, we'll be like, there it is.
Oh, I need to think of something. I feel like, honestly, I should go on my emails and quickly scroll through the script.
That has been done before, actually.
Has it? Okay, that makes me feel a bit better. Hold on.
Let me see if I can find what the previous...
Oh, no.
I'm sorry, I should have done the whole interview like this. That would have been much better. Although the audio isn't quite what we had there.
That's what we got. We got the majority of it with the good mic. So
yeah,
with the good mic. Now I'm just literally going. I'm going through my scripts here. I'm trying to find the script for. Actually, I can't even give you the name of the episode, but let me see if I can find it because. Oh, okay. Here we go. Right. Surely I see something crazy in this episode. Right, Dendrew. Okay.
Okay.
Dendrew.
Dendrew. All right.
Yeah.
Is this the alien pronunciation or the Scottish accent?
Well, how would you say it? Dendru.
Okay, so Dendrew. Yeah.
Dendrew.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So.
Right.
Okay. Yeah. Right. There you go. That's something that you could. This is what happened last time, though. I thought of like a better one as soon as we hung up. But anyway.
No worries.
You can call in for our next interview and just drop another one.
There we go.
Yes, let's do it. Guys, thank you though so much, man. That was so fun.
Thank you.
Genuinely.
Thank you.
And
Every time.
Man, it's so nice to hear from the fans as well. Thank you to everyone who wrote in and with questions and that. It's flattering that anyone wants to speak to me. And I'm just glad that they seem to be enjoying the show. And
they had less than 24 hours to get those calls in, and they did not disappoint.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
it's
people
great.
were eager.
Yeah.
It's great.